after the pilot, what's the most surprising thing we'll learn about Will?
Um, you know, everything. You don't really learn a lot about him in the pilot. You learn that Emily likes him a lot, which I can say because I know that was on the preview, right? I think immediately after that, sort of like the next 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 episodes after that, you start to learn why she likes him so much, why she sort of is in love with him or whatever. You find out a lot about him. So, because you know, in the pilot, it's just her telling you, or her telling him. I'm sorry. And that's sort of the fun of it, is we don't get in front of the story, you know. Then you find out with her, you find out why, you know, which is kind of interesting. You know, a lot of the things that they sort of know about each other were basically found out in high pressure situations in med school, and I think I've never been to med school, but I would assume that there is some downtime, and they hung out and they became best friends, and now I think in this. Now it's real. So now you're operating on real people, and it's life and death, literally. And so he starts to see her professionally in a different light, maybe, but also personally. I think sometimes when something is presented to you that you weren't aware of, I think there's a knee-jerk reaction, maybe, and then after that, when you have time to sort of slow down, take a breath, you look at it a little bit differently, and I think that's sort of what Bill's going through right now. I think that ever wavered. I mean, I think they trust each other completely, which I think is one of the sort of beautiful things about that relationship, is that she is so honest with him, and he is so, then in turn, what ends up being sort of brutally honest with her, and that's what makes the relationship work. So. Yeah.
Well, but if he's kind of in the middle of the two girls, because Emily has a
Tough
crush
spot.
on Will, and Will has a crush on Cassandra. Does that affect the rivalry? Is he kind of coming between them if they're starting to try to mend fences a little bit?
Look, ladies, I just try to stay out of it. Not intentionally. He's not. He's a really. You know what I like about this character is that he's a really good guy. He's a good human being, and I think that. He sort of strikes me as the kind of guy that could go back to his high school reunion and not have to hide from anyone. I don't think it's put on. I think he just really has a huge heart, which is kind of nice. Okay. But I don't know. I mean, I guess if there's it's supply and demand, right? I mean, that's sort of what it is. So yeah, if there's two girls fighting over a guy, which is that's not what this show is about.
Well, that's what I was kind of getting at in the episodes that you guys have shot. Is that coming into play? It
does a little bit. I mean, it's definitely part of it, but that's not what the show is about. It's not two girls fighting over a guy. So
episodes past the pilot, are we getting a sense of Will at home, his home friends, home life?
No, not really. I mean, I think it's discussed a bit, but there's no hanging out with Will at home.
And no giant revelations, maybe?
There are, but they're done. I thought you meant physically. They're done at the hospital. Like, we have an episode coming up where you find out something huge about Will, sort of why he's doing what he's doing. But it happens at the hospital. So yeah.
What is Will up to in the episode you're shooting now?
A lot of nudity.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of nudity, and that's about it.
That's a good answer, even if you're lying.
In the episode we're shooting now, what is he up to? He's dealing with, oh boy, I mean, he's sort of dealing with a personal situation that has to do with people he works with, and then he's also dealing with a case that is may not necessarily be the safest thing, and he's sort of treading he's skating on thin ice because he's kind of already gotten talked to once, and he's about ready to sort of do this thing again. He's pretty confident, this guy. It's sweet. It's pretty. He's a sweetheart.